Hello, everybody! How's it going? Mega Gamer Man back at you once again with another Korra review, but this time we are at we're at the finale. It's over, guys. It ended yesterday at midnight, or at least Thursday, Friday midnight, whatever. But yeah, it ended Korra, and basically for the whole series, Avatar in general, it is now done. We will not be getting more instead of the comics and stuff like that, but it's pretty sad to see that this series is over, and congratulations to the team that really have been working hard on Avatar: Last Airbender and Korra. It's been really nice. You guys really brought out a really great series, and kudos to you. But yeah, so of course you know how it is going to be here. We're going to be reviewing and going over the episodes of the finale, and give our each individual thoughts and something that Nick, which they did, which was a douchebag move. But yeah, but yeah, we'll get into that later on. All right, so of course you already know who's here. It's me, Terminator Juice.
What's up, everybody? Terminator Juice. Glad and sad at the same time to be here for the finale recap and review. So.
All right, Zen Gamer.
Yo, what's going on? Here to talk about the season, even though I've really only been here for two episodes of reviews. This is my second one, it's the last one, so go figure. But anyway, enough of my chatter, it's time to do the thing.
All right, let's do the thing. And next but last, whatever, I messed up my freaking, oh my god.
Last but not least.
But last but not least.
Last but most certainly least. No, I know how you feel.
All right, but of course, a guest that we had last time in one of our episodes, I forgot which one that was, but I always forget every single episode. But yeah, Teresa, how's it going there, man?
All right. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to talk about Korrasami. That's it. That's what I'm here for.
Oh my god, yeah, that was the biggest highlight. All right, so basically, let's do a quick recap of what happened throughout these two episodes. We'll start out, of course, with episode 11. Oh shoot, I already forgot. No, someone save me.
Day of the Colossus.
Day of the Colossus. There you go. You saved. And then also, of course, episode 12, which is the final.
Stand.
The last stand.
Stand. There you go.
Last stand, and you
Or
still
the
messed
last
it up.
stand. Whatever. But yeah, I got that kind of short memory span with these names. But yeah, so we're gonna do a quick review, whatever. I'm messing up right now. Someone just do it right now. Let's do it. All right, so go for it.
Who's first?
Teresa had it written down, so.
Oh, you guys are reading?
I have it written down, but I'm not going to be the main person talking.
Just talk, like, what were, like, 4 or 5 of the big moments, I guess
Alright.
we could.
We'll do
Oh
it like
wow!
Like, it started off with the mech crossing, like,
Yeah.
the river, whatever it was, the body of water. They came up with a plan to, like, try to get the 2 prototype hummingbirds working, and then the rest of them were going to distract the mech. And so it was like the airbenders, Korra, and the metal benders, like Sue and Lin. They all went and kind of faced it, and Kuvira was just shooting it up, like she was just destroying the city with the spirit weapon. They were having trouble. They couldn't. They tried wrapping its legs up and with wire and using lava bending. There's just nothing was working, and so they kind of went back, regrouped, and or no, at that point they had Asami was struggling and Varric were struggling to get the hummingbirds working. So so Lin went and got Hiroshi Sato out of prison, and so he kind of helped them. They converted some welders to some plasma cutters, and they got the hummingbirds up and going. And they took it on, and they were, not having much luck. And Korra did the best water bending I've ever seen, and like bent like this whole river, and basically gave them enough time to cut part of the platinum, and everyone gets inside, and they split up. Lin and Sue go to destroy the weapon, or make it malfunction,
Right.
you know.
One thing.
And Mako and Bolin went to destroy the power source, and Korra goes after Kuvira. So, you know, there was a lot of action going on. You know, they're cutting back and forth. Basically, Lin and Sue take out the weapon, and Kuvira rips off the arm, throws it, and the cannon goes into the spirit world, or the spirit vines, or whatever, of Republic City. And then Mako and Bolin they were kind of getting beat up a little bit, but they ended up, you know, Mako came up with a plan. He was going to sacrifice himself. He was lightning to in the spirit. It was like basically a big energy source. Was all these spirit vines. They were
It
drawing
was
the
like
energy
a
from.
vine ball.
Mm-hmm.
Ball.
And he shoots it with electricity, and you kind of felt like, you know, it was gonna be it for Mako. But Bolin comes and gets him, and Kuvira and Korra had an epic fight, and basically in the head of the giant robot, and it was pretty epic. And but that pretty much came to a halt when the power source blew up, and it kind of just ripped the robot in half. And then Kuvira ended up running into the spirit vines or spirit wilds. Korra chases her, and of course the spirit weapons just happens to be hanging on some vines, and she turns it on, and she can't shut it off. It's just sucking all the power out of all the vines, and Korra ends up saving Kuvira from the freaking spirit weapon. And I don't know if she was using air bending or just like spirit bending. What she did, she created
I think it was some kind of form of spirit
energy bending or
like
something.
energy, something like that. I
And,
had to be.
created like this big bubble of spirit energy, which sucked back in and created a new spirit portal right in the heart of Republic City. And you know, they kind of copped out and had Kuvira get captured, and she kind of turned herself, or she's, you know, told her army to back down. And you know, that was kind of the action part of it. And you know, we had Varric and Julie. He proposed to Julie. So basically after that, they had the wedding ceremony. And then you had Korra and Asami. They had a little talk at the end, and they decided to go travel the world together. And they hold hands and walk through the spirit portal. And that was it. You know, there's a lot of stuff in there, but that was basically the quickest I could think to recap it. So
one thing I should mention. In an earlier episode, you guys were wondering about Varric using an EMP to shut down the Colossus.
He did that.
They addressed that because he does do the EMP, but it only shuts down the smaller mechs. The Colossus is just running on spirit energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you also glossed over, throughout the first episode, there was a thread where Wu kind of stepped up and helped evacuate all the citizens.
Yep, with the Badger moles. Yeah. That was kind of cool. I gotta say that I wasn't.
They only got so far, but they only needed to before the Colossus got destroyed anyway. So, but still.
You know, but I like that part because it reminded me of the Tunnel of Love.
Mm-hmm.
It really reminded me because of his bad singing. So
Right.
that really brought it.
Two Lovers was one of the funniest.
The Cave of Two Lovers.
So yeah, let's dig into some of the bigger moments.
So what we're gonna do here is basically, since these were like two big, episodes, we're basically gonna go to our top 5 each of us, from basically throughout the whole season finale. So, what was everybody's top 5? We'll begin with Zen. So go
like
for
moments or like
top 5 like moments that really like were like great to you.
Per episode or overall?
No, for overall.
Overall, okay.
She gave me a heads up on that. I gotta think about that.
Okay. In reverse order from 5 to 1, 5 being the least great to me, and 1 being, of course, the most. Number 5 for me would have to be Wu stepping up. Wu stepping up and showing some character development that is good, because he's been a buffoon for this entire season. And if the series had ended with him still being a buffoon, that would have been entirely disappointing. One of the best things, as someone who takes in a lot of media, books, and all other sorts of stories and narrative, is seeing characters grow over the course of time. And that is pretty much art imitating life, because if you are exposed to a lot of trials and tribulations throughout your own life, you are not necessarily going to be the same person at the end of it all. You are going to grow. Some of your experiences are going to have deep and profound effects on who you are at the end of the day. So seeing Wu finally step up to the plate of being that selfish brat who believed he ruled everything and owned everything and everything was owed to him as a result of his lineage, and seeing him come up and think, okay, well, maybe I'm not nearly as important in the grand scheme of things. Maybe I could help. Maybe using my own sense of buffoonery to actually help out would be nice. I mean, the moment that particularly shined to me was the Bajamo moment, of course, where he's controlling these Bajamos, and I thought, Wu can't be this capable. Wu can't be this dependable. Something is wrong here. But then it turns out that it's not just luck or circumstance or coincidence. The Bajamos are actually being controlled by Wu's bad singing. So that was really, really good to see. He knew what he was doing when he told, what's Tenzin's wife's name again?
Pame?
Pame.
Pame?
Pema.
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 Yeah, he knew what he was saying when he told Pama, okay, you stay here with all the guys who need to be evacuated, right? I'm gonna go and find a different way to get everyone out of here since the rail has been blown up or destroyed or whatever, and that's no longer an option. Stay right here, buy me some time, I'll be back. So I thought he was gonna do something stupid, or maybe that was the last time we'd see Wu. Turns out Wu knew what he was doing. Wu came back with Bajimo and started digging people out, digging a passageway out, and defended everybody in the tunnel. Yeah, character development. Guy grew. Towards the end, with his whole idea of creating a republic instead of a monarchy, disbanding the monarchy, completely destroying it, and stepping down as king, so that Earth Kingdom citizens would have a better chance and not have to worry about future dictatorships like Kuvira. That was nice. That is true growth. I love that. It shows he learned something over the course of the series. The season, my bad. So 4 would be the fact that they actually used the EMP and they addressed that. Because had the mech army, or their attempts to bring down the giant mech, been some Deus Ex Machina nonsense, I'd have been upset with that. Something they just pull out of nowhere for the sake of plot necessity. That would have been wrong.
I'm actually really glad that they did point out the EMP thing, that Varric actually was like, oh, hey, we're about to do this EMP thing, because the thing is, he did it before, so I'm glad that he's just like, okay, now he's about to do it again and at least try it, and it at least works for the little mechs. So
yeah, it at least works for the little mechs. I love that fact. So that was one of my high points as well. Number 3 would be the repeated attempts and failures at bringing the mech down. Now, I'm really, really glad that Korra, through plot necessity, didn't just acquire the strength necessary to do it all herself. Because we've seen that in various series as well, where every attempt fails, and just because, oh, guys, we got 10 more minutes before the episode ends, so now would be that time to do the thing that you forgot you could do. No, we didn't see that. That was lovely. They all tried. They used regular bending. Bolin with his lava bending. They tried to tie it up Star Wars AT-AT style. And, bring it down. That was nice. That was really nice. It showed they have an idea of what they wanted to do in order to bring the mech down. None of it worked. They brought a building down in the mech. That was nice.
That I have to say was epic. They were really... they were cutting down buildings, doing all this great stuff.
Korra pretty much displaced a river of water, freezing it on impact, and freezing the mech in place, giving the little wasp robots, forget the name, hummingbird. Yes, chance to cut in and give the infiltration team time to get in and all of that. So it was really nice, given that it was actual strategy, even though a lot of it failed. But there was actually strategy involved. They used what they already introduced you to in the series, and no one didn't just step up and say, hey, I conveniently forgot that I have this super convenient thing that could super conveniently destroy this robot. Now that's really convenient for me to do so. So that didn't happen, and I like that. Number 2, I have to give that to Mako. Despite the internet rumors. Let's coin it down as a rumor, put it down as a rumor for the time being. This is not really confirmed, or we have really mixed reports going on. A lot of people don't believe the different stories. But anyway, Mako's lightning bending. Speaking of conveniently forgetting things, I don't know what's wrong with these people. Every time he pulls a lightning bending, it's a winner. Why does he do it more often? I don't know. So the fact that he didn't try to burn the vines and said, you know what, I'm going to zap it instead, that was nice. And that was some nice animation. It was really good. It was really freaking good. So number one, what's my number one moment here? What's my number one moment here? I would just say my number one moment would have to go to just the level and scale of the destruction that was done throughout the city. You can clearly see the animators, they were like, all right, you know what, guys, this is the last one. Let's go balls to the wall and just blow everything up. And they did it. That one shot, there's 1,000 GIFs online of it now, where Korra uses some water to shift the trajectory of the gun. It goes flinging across the city and creates this long line of destruction behind her in the background. Lovely. The spirit bomb nuke at the end of the episode, lovely. Pretty much disintegrating buildings as the wall of destruction moves along. Everything they did, they bring it down with the building that was well animated. The Badger moles just destroying those mechs, I like that. Everything was well done. This was the animation in general and the destruction that they felt they were at liberty to use and create. In this particular episode, they didn't hold anything back where that was concerned, and I liked that particularly. So that's my top 5.
All right. So go ahead, Terminator, because you just basically said you got yours. So go for it before you forget.
All right. I got them written down.
Oh, you got them written down. Okay, that's better.
I just wrote them down. So first, before I go into the details, I'll agree with Zen. This was some of the best, like the animation, the music, and some of the still shots, you know, the backgrounds that they draw or paint, I don't know exactly how they create them, was just on a whole nother level. It was just amazing. So just well done on that. I believe they're South Korean, the studio that does the animation. Just a fantastic job. It was, just amazing, simply amazing. I hope they get more work, and I'd like to see them do more series. So with that in mind, my number 5 moment was the Korra Asami at the end. They handled it well, for if you believe the rumors or not that they had something else planned, but it was a nice touch at the end. They had them holding hands, walking through the spirit portal, and I just felt that was a good moment. And instead of sticking to traditional and having Korra and Mako end up together or something, they kind of left it open for our imagination to assume that Korra and Asami maybe ended up together. So I really liked that, and I felt it was handled very maturely and done well. So the next thing was the Varric proposal to Julie, and it's sappy stuff here, but it gets less sappy at the end. But I just thought it wasn't as expected. It wasn't obvious, and it was done so well. Like, just everything, the writing was just amazing in that part. So that was great. And I love when he was like, let's go fly around in some flying mechs and attack something, whatever he said, and she's like, just how I envisioned our engagement. It was just perfect. I loved it. So number 3 was kind of like what Zen said. It was just the fact that everyone was just risking their lives. All the airbenders and the metal benders, they were risking everything to try to stop this thing, and they didn't just have it be an easy solution. I mean, they really struggled, took everything they had, like, they had the building they took down on top of it, and it didn't stop it, and everything they had to do, just all that was just done well. I liked how the airbenders were saving each other as someone would get knocked out, and it was just really cool. And it just felt like what they would be doing. It was in line with all their characters that, all the airbenders have kind of stepped up to the plate, and I like that. Number 2, and it was almost number 1, but the Korra versus Kuvira fight. The first time they had a fight earlier in the season, I thought it was lame, and we all kind of complained that Korra took a step back. This one was just so well executed. That fight choreography, the animation. Kuvira had the liquid metal in those.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was like, what are those? Is that like sensing her motion? Like, is it like motion sensors? Like that? How the mech's working? And it was just like liquid metal, and she used it. Korra like deflected it and sent it right back at her, and it was just like they were evenly matched. But Korra was not to be, she wasn't going to be stopped, and that was just epic. And the music during that whole sequence was amazing. So they better release a soundtrack on CD for this season. And number one was sad. It was also really well done. Was when Sato sacrifices himself and ejects Asami from the hummingbird right at the last moment. And there was a cool shot of her like close up and showing it from in the cockpit and watching her get ejected out as he got swatted and killed. And it was like sacrificing everything for his daughter. It was very touching, and it was really well animated, and it was just on top of it, it was like the coolest shot in the whole series. Every book all together. I thought it was the coolest thing they've done. So that's my top 5, and there could have been more. I mean, there's a lot more good moments. But that's definitely the cream of the crop for me.
All right. So, Therese, you got your top 5 there?
Good enough.
No, you're fine?
Yeah.
All right.
For 5, I can't really like do this concisely. I can't do it too concisely because there's just so much. But wow, he cut his mic, and the lack of any background static at all is just. I don't even know how to handle it. I'm sorry. It was just everything got suddenly very quiet.
No, sorry
it's
about
fine.
that.
It just weirded me out.
I just have background noise, a lot of family, so.
It's like suddenly I was the only thing, and it made me paranoid. But a couple of these kind of sound like cop outs, but for 5, I really loved all like the little character moments they had, like stuff with like Pema just really momming it up with the evacuating citizens, and like that's how she knew to deal with them, and it worked. They were all calm and everything because she's up there on the bench being cute and singing them little lullaby songs and everything, and you can't be mad at her, but everyone's just sitting there all bored. And there's like stuff like during the wedding they had a shot of Tano is in a band now and he can play the trombone.
Yeah, I did catch that.
and like during the fight against Kuvira, like all the airbenders are flying around, and there's this moment where Milo goes up in the window and pushes his face up against the glass and makes this weird face at Kuvira and like taunting her.
Should have made that my icon, dang it.
That would be a good one. Just have that as an avatar for like any other occasion. It's so fitting. It's perfect. But just stuff like that really helped. I just like character-driven stuff.
All right.
Despite I might like Legend of Korra more than I like The Last Airbender.
What?
That's
blasphemy.
No, it's fine.
Well, hey, you know what? They're still the same series, just 2 different iterations. It's tough. It's a very tough call, and Korra is definitely more plot-driven. But I do tend to always kind of go for the character stuff. Anyway, for 4, I have my best moment was how terrible Kuvira's aim was, and how it was still awesome because she was missing her target a lot, but it wasn't a big deal because she just wanted to wreck the city anyway. So even if she missed who she was firing at, she still did tons of damage. And it was insane. And there's just this crazy woman in a giant mech suit firing all over the place and missing, but still just being this huge threat just in her mayhem.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good way to bring that up. I actually forgot about that.
She like never actually really hit any of her targets. Like maybe some general like vicinities, but
The airbenders would stay in there till the last
Yeah.
second and then fly away. It's like, come on.
right. Well, a cannon like that could be very difficult to control, but
Yeah.
uh, for 3, I have just the whole scene of Bolin and Mako in the engine room, if you can call it an engine room. The just like it starts out with Bolin just he is like mastered lava bending now. He didn't just sit on that while after he discovered it. You know, he's like good, and like he just like cuts through this metal like door with this like saw blade of lava.
Yeah, that was cool.
And they like bust in and start taking out the engineers and getting into a fight with them. And Mako. One thing I have to wonder if maybe he prefers plain firebending over bending electricity because of so much of his fighting probably comes from when he was a pro bender, and I have to wonder if maybe he couldn't lightning bend at that time, so much of his combat he relies on just plain firebending because he doesn't use lightning bending for combat, because he always used that to work and make money. And he's such a good firebender. He's like very good at combat with the flipping around and throwing fire at people, and like you can see his style doing that, whereas Bolin is kind of embracing more his new skills and not just plain earthbending.
Yeah.
If he could metal bend, that kid, like, he'd just be unstoppable. Because
That's true.
he doesn't sit on his skills, and if he could have all of them, then he would just he would be like a master earthbender. We'd have like scenes of him being old person and like, you know, making Toph look like, you know, she was new at stuff.
Avatar of Earth.
Huh?
Avatar of Earth, basically.
Right. I could see that's what they should do. They should have the next Avatar of Earth just be like a huge Bolin fan.
It's like, yo, Nuntuck!
Right? He's a mover star and everything. He's super famous. So, you know, that could work.
Yeah,
Have the next Avatar be. Yeah. Have the next Avatar, I just like idolize him. That's my headcanon now.
I mean, if he knew metal bending, he would be the ultimate earthbender ever, with the lava bending and metal bending. I mean, that'd be. They didn't go. You know, they could have, you know, maybe continued his progression with metal bending, but they kind of just took it to the lava bending instead last season.
Right. But the whole entire thing with them and how they're fighting, and then they take out the guards, they shut off the power, it doesn't work. So Bolin, like, the only thing you can think of is like, well, you mess with the vines, they explode. So Mako resolves to do that, and Bolin's like, look, you don't need to. This is not the time to prove you're awesome. I already know you're awesome. You know, Bolin has come, like, he's progressed so much. He is very awesome himself, but it's still nice seeing, like, you know, their brotherly love, and he still so much looks up to Mako. And Mako definitely pulled through. He definitely showed off. Yes, he is very awesome, like making that stable connection with the electricity and blowing up the spirit vines. But it was nice to see the little moments between them and how they interact, and just seeing them be brothers.
Yeah.
And for 2, another kind of cop-out, but like every moment with Varric and Julie, which could pretty much be my thoughts on the whole series since they've been introduced, because they're always great, but they just, this season especially, they've been, the interactions between the two of them have just been so fun to watch. And Varric finally stopped being clueless, but he didn't stop being Varric. Like he proposed to Julie in a way that was very much him. Like he said, "Wait, I need to attach one last thing. You know, attach this ring to your finger." And he tried to talk to her earlier, before setting off the EMP, and he was trying to tell her a story about his ostrich horse that he took for granted, and which it sounded like it was kind of sweet where he was going with it, but it was still like
Insulting.
just being so silly, and because he's just still so Varric and the way he thinks about things, but he finally, like, you know, he wasn't stupid. He's this eccentric genius inventor guy, but he's, you know, not complete social idiot, you know, and he did realize and finally proposed to Julie, and that needed to happen. Whether it could have just been her proposing to him, like those two needed to get together, and it was good that he finally figured it out for himself and didn't need to be just told bluntly, you know, no, Julie loves you, dude. Like, she's not just your assistant. It's more than that. And just his whole way of, like, coming to that realization and proposing and then expressing his love for her. They have this little moment where they're attacking the Colossus, and they're in the hummingbird suits, and so he's like, fly to that spot on the back, you know, the one I can't reach. And of course she knows what that is. You know, she's probably like scratched it for him like a million times already by now. And it just they have, like, they're so close together, and they can just say, do the thing, and they know what to do. And number one is Korrasami. Of course it is.
Oh, I knew it. The picture says it all.
Yeah, that should have. Well, it might update sometime, like halfway through while we're doing this, to the most recent Korrasami, like the final shot of the show. They ended on that, and it was also a nice little tie back to The Last Airbender, where they also ended on romance between the Avatar and the love interest. So, you know, how they've been doing that all this season. That ship is unsinkable. No matter how, like, the culture surrounding the show or whatever, what they can show between the two of them, it's just so, that relationship works so well. They had all this nonsense during season 1 of these just terrible love triangle of people just being silly little teenagers and not knowing what to think about themselves and the people that they're interested in. And then they do all these scenes, mostly in season 4. They hinted at it a lot throughout season 3, between Korra and Asami, and it just works so well. They have such great chemistry. They're totally into each other, and they're totally the perfect couple for each other. And it just doesn't matter, like, what the surrounding culture is, that the writers really hit the how to do a relationship between those two. Like, definitely romance between them, as opposed to all the nonsense they had going on between Mako and Korra in the first 2 seasons.
Oh, that was a disaster.
Yeah,
But
just
but yeah, so I guess that those are really good.
Ours
I
are all
kind
been
of
different so far, so this
yeah,
is
this is
interesting.
really good. And basically, I knew that was gonna be your number one.
of course.
um, but yeah, so I guess I'll say mine, and my number five is basically, of course, I would have to go with the same thing as, because this actually was my least, but it really did make me impressed with Wu, that he actually kind of grew up, because I was like, will he die already? And every single like time I see him, because he was just so useless, and they kind of built him up to be actually useful. He was useful throughout the season finale. He did the work that had to be done, and he really would have made a great king. But of course, he decided to end the monarchy and start up election, like basically a whole elective kind of selection thing for running each individual state of the Earth kingdom, or probably as we might call it now, America. So, so my number four will have to be, of course, Bolin just going in with his metal bending, at least not metal, lava bending, because I don't know, for some reason that plate thing that he was spinning to saw open that cuff open, I think that was a metal plate, because when he hit it for the last time, or threw it for the last time, it actually went down and sounded like metal when it dropped, if you notice that. So I'm thinking that he picked up on metal bending, but it's like he uses his lava mostly for that kind of state of bending. So I could
Like
see
he
that.
can metal bend if it's also lava bending at the same time.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
the
that's
thing
a
is,
good point because it did kind of
yeah,
look like metal.
yeah,
Maybe.
because if you think about it, remember, metal has pieces of earth in it, so he can basically do it easily. So that was, I like that he finally was showing off more of his lava bending, and especially during at the when he was melting the foot um of the huge colossus, basically. It actually was going down because it was actually melting, and he was really doing work. I really would have hoped that he would have just like opened up a bigger puddle and then just like have the whole leg like groped in lava, just having all that. But in total, he was doing great. My number three has to be basically that fight, dude. That fight between I mean I had to actually go with this because the form. I just love whenever in these fights their form is just so god dang beautiful. It's just like when Kufira basically threw through the liquid, I think it was liquid rock, or liquid metal. She like Korra's just like blocking that, like making it go over her and like on her sides, and then she like takes it from the back and then just like shoots it right back. I'm just like, oh my god, this is beautiful. And they were really in a cramped space, so that was really a really good fight for being in such a little tiny space where you can barely move around. And I liked, of course, when she came up and she just kicked the other two soldiers. That was actually funny. My number two moment, yo man, Milo, freaking Milo, man, he is just so good. He came up with a plan of covering the paint, uh, you know, covering the windshields on the Colossus with paint, and he just was like, he did the face, he just like going all around. Yo, he saved his father, but like he literally saved his father from, like, of course, falling, and he was going in with that air bending, man. I'm just like, what the frick happened with you, Milo? But that was just
He became
awesome.
Milo the man.
Milo the man. Oh my god, that artwork that happened, man, that was nice. Yeah, but Milo the man, dude, definitely. He really just picked up on airbending so much. Um, and basically, my number one has to be where this is actually a tough choice. This one has to be where. Whew, this is actually really tough. it just, I guess it's gonna be where uh Korra basically just bends out that whole like kind of final thing with Kuvira doing the cannon thing, and she was kind of doing a dumb move, but I just liked it when she was spirit bending or something, energy bending, whatever she did, which they should explain. But whatever she did, and it basically like went out, and then all the smoke was just being sucked right back in, and it just creates a new portal. That was awesome. But yeah, so those are my top five, and yeah, I guess we're basically done with the top fives here. But of course, Zen brought this up right here, and he wants to do for him. I don't know if anybody else wants to do it, but the top five disappointments in this finale. Now, I can
We
see
have to
where
do
he's going
five?
with. Yeah, top five. But that's if you want. You don't have to.
I got a couple.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mhm.
It's just he brought it up, so I was like, okay, well, all right. So Zen, what are those top five disappointments that you had wrong? And I can kind of tell what they are, so go for it, man.
Okay, a lot of this is going to have to tie right back into what was supposedly and via rumor changed from that final episode, but a couple of them I think it would have gone that way anyway, regardless of any supposed interference on Nickelodeon's behalf. But anyway, top fives from five to one, five being least important, one being the most important. Five would be that moment where, what was it? When Milo was saving Tenzin from falling. I think it was. Yeah, when Milo was saving Tenzin from falling. Something with the animation there made me think as though he was going to do something else other than what he did.
I thought he was gonna fart.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not really important. It's more of like a nitpick, which is why it's five. Right? I thought, oh, okay, this is Milo's final great moment. He's gonna bust out that unique move that he has, and that's how he's gonna save Tenzin because that's a form of airbending, I guess. So, so I thought he was gonna do that, use his trademark, but he didn't. He just kicked his feet out and used like a regular airbending move. So I'm like, that was gonna be a pretty funny moment, even though he did make up for it with the whole rape face at when he said with Kobira. So that was funny. So he kind of did make up for that. Number four would be the whole hero thing, and less than Hero's appearance suddenly. His idea, he just came in, understood exactly what everyone was doing, and I mean, he's a genius. I get that, but I mean, to come up with that idea really quickly and just snap to and do it and get it done before Kuvira's army got there was kind of weird. But more than that, is Lin's disappearance to go get him. It was kind of like, oh, we know a genius. He's in prison right now. Now, I know suspension of belief is a thing in theater and in media where, you willingly subject yourself, you're willing to believe something unbelievable for the sake of the show, just to keep it clean. But I couldn't believe this one. Lin left the group and went to find Hero, who is in prison at this moment. She went through a city which is crawling with Kuvira's troops on her own. She didn't go with a team. Was successful. Got to the prison, which I don't even know where that prison is.
I think it's behind Air Temple Island. If it's
Wow.
where Zahir is, that's a long ways away.
That's a long ways away. She did that on her own.
I don't think he's in the same
But anyway,
prison.
yeah, I get that. Plus the evacuation, they probably would have evacuated the prisons, but
Nah,
Right.
let him get blown up.
So, what kind of people would your Republic City? Come on, really? Damn. Blow up the prisoners. They're not worth anything. Anyway, she did that really quickly, like within 5 minutes, because she said, "Oh, Hero, he would know what to do. I'm gonna get him on my own through a city filled with enemies who will kill me on sight." And then she's back in 5 minutes. Here he is. I'm like, wow, that was really convenient. And even though, yes, they could have skipped the time because that is a mechanic authors use to cut out the chaff and not bore the audience. The time didn't pass. they didn't show time had passed because they're pretty much in the same conversation by the time she was back with Hero in tow. Dude was like, hey, okay, Lynn, you go get here. Oh, you're back already. Okay, yeah. Well, let's get to think. It was kind of like a Sonic moment. I was like, wow, all right, that was fast, but it was kind of weird. It's kind of jarring. It kind of messed the pacing up. But if the rumors, which I suppose you'll get to eventually, are to believe, then I know why that happened. That was 4. 3, 3. I'm going to have to give 3 to that whole the way the fight, the hand-to-hand fight between Kuvira and Korra ended up. In the robot's cockpit or control room or whatever, that was epic, and that was pretty damn good. If I had any honorable mentions of my top 5 moments, that would definitely be among them. Or if I had 10 to go through, that would definitely be among them. But that was really good. Then Mako did what he had to do. He brought the robot down, and Kuvira just kind of skulked away. Even though the only person who knew where she was would have been Korra. So, given the kind of headstrong person Kuvira was sort of was presented as being throughout the entire season, for her to just skulk away the moment she loses her big shiny toy, that was kind of weird. Given that she wasn't really injured, they could have continued to fight right there. So that was number 3. But she ran away, and they attempted to explain why she ran away in this next scene, which was to find the gun. Now, for her to just come across the gun just conveniently like that, again, that's another suspension of belief moment. Had she said, "Oh well, I saw where the gun went when it was dislodged from, or at the moment of the explosion, or whenever it was dislodged from the main body of the robot." So that's my plan. I'm going to run away from the Avatar now. I'm going to find the gun. I'm going to use that to destroy her. That's not the case, because obviously upon seeing the gun, she was surprised. She didn't expect to see the gun, which means that her initial flight, was simply that, flight. She just ran, for no other reason than to preserve her life. That's not the Kuvira that they introduced to me earlier on in the season. Kuvira is that die-hard, go-down fighting kind of chick, or at least I think so. So for her to just run for no reason and then come across something that would win the fight for her, then she decides to stand her ground, only because she has found something to equalize the playing field, that's not good. Especially considering that she kicked Korra's ass the last time they had a fight. Of course, that was due to Korra's own mental issues and the poison and blah, blah, blah. But she should have had more confidence going into that fight and coming out of it than to just run the moment her one trump card gets disposed of. That was kind of weird, and that's not Kuvira's character whatsoever. It was a shift in character that wasn't lending itself well to the rest of her character's presentation throughout the entire season. 2. 2 would be, again, Mako. If you are willing to believe the rumors, and it would be that Mako was not supposed to survive his epic moment in the core of that robot. So I can see that happening as well. Once again, another shift. If these things were changed, then the shift kind of makes sense, with Bolin having this really heartfelt moment. Theresa brought that up. And they spent so much time making you believe, oh shit, Mako's going down a hero. He's going to a boss, because he's trying to explain to Bolin, I can't go with you this time because I need to stay here and do this because only I can. In this situation, I have to own up to that responsibility, and no matter what ramification there is, even if it costs me my life, which it most likely will given the way these things explode, I'm going to stay here and do it. You take those technicians and get the hell out of here. Don't look back. Leave this to me. And that's exactly what Bolin does after the whole "you're awesome, and I know you're awesome, now's the time to prove it." Hugs and kisses, well, not really kisses, but bro love, all that bro love. And he leaves. So I'm like, okay, this is Mako's final stand. He's going to go out like a G. Doesn't happen. Bolin just kind of pops back up. And worst part is, he pops back up without the technicians in tow. So what? Did he take the technicians, get out of the robot, put the technicians on the sidewalk somewhere, get back into the robot, go back to the core, and then save Mako in time? No. I can't believe that. No. That was weird. That pacing was completely jagged. It was just weird. And it makes me believe that rumor that he was supposed to go down, but at some point, somewhere, a decision was made that he would survive that scene. And the number one underwhelming, disappointing moment of all comes in the form of another survival, another not death. That would be Kuvira. And how the entire situation was resolved. Remember the last time I was here, 1 out of 2, so of course you remember.
Yeah.
Where I said, if Kuvira is allowed to redeem her character, I would not be happy with it. Because she is a dictator. She took that last final step into true evil when she decided to blow up her love, or the love of her life. When she decided, oh, well, I don't love you anymore because when it comes to my goal of uniting the Earth Kingdom under my rule and my law, even though I love you, you've become a problem. You must now be disposed. All that love down the drain. That's a step into true, not really evil, but into true dictatorship. That's the moment that they showed to me, okay, Kuvira is the kind of person who doesn't care who she has to go through, what she has to do, and what part of her, emotional or otherwise, she has to cut out in order to succeed at what she's doing. And then you are able to talk this person down? Really? Now I'm reminded of another series, Naruto. You all know where I'm going with this because I complain about that series nonstop. Well, used to, because it too is done now. Where it's like, this whole I'm like you, I feel you, and we're similar. It's like, come on, it's like you remind me of myself. It's like, calm down. Why would talking to her at this moment be so much more effective than talking to her at any other given moment when she has shown time and again, you cannot talk me down. I am doing what I'm going to do in the way I see fit, and there is nothing save violence and force that will make me stop. Yet, conveniently, because, well, killing her was something they didn't want to have happen for one reason or the other, we'll stop pointing. We won't be pointing fingers as to whose fault that was, but that shouldn't have happened. She should not have redeemed her character, especially after she killed all those people, did all that shit. It was like, okay, Kuvira's going down as a true villain, and honestly, I'm tired of seeing that kind of villain. Let's localize it let's forget all the rest of the anime, but I'm tired of seeing that kind of villain in this series in particular, where we have, well, I keep forgetting these names. We have, what's his name? Baldhead dude last season.
Zahir.
Zahir.
Oh, Zahir.
Yeah. We have Zahir, who is locked up. All right, he kills the Earth Queen. He's just locked up. We have Unalak. What happened to Unalak? What happened to him? I think he's locked up too. He died.
He died.
Okay, he died. But it wasn't really through the direct actions of the Avatar. It was kind of okay, he's too far gone to come back. So you kind of did this to yourself, bro. This is just what happens next.
Yeah.
The first season, what's his name?
Aman.
Where we have Aman. What happened to him?
What happened was
Blew
his
himself up on a boat.
Right.
his brother did. His brother blew up the boat.
Right. So we have this whole concept where the Avatar is the bastion of peace, and she or he is awarded with all this power, just in the case it comes to violence and force, to forcibly remove troublesome elements that would disrupt that peace. Yet we never get to see Korra using that force and forcibly bringing something to an end through her own hands. Maybe not in the first season. Okay, I'll give them that, because it's the introducing season. Maybe not in the second, and obviously not in the third, but I expect with someone who has been depicted to be as evil as Kuvira was depicted to be at times. I mean, concentration camps. That's some Hitler shit. Right? I thought that she'd be the one to truly get put down by Korra's hands, and it didn't happen, even if accidentally, which also ties into the whole rumor part. It didn't happen. She was talked down, talk no jutsu, and it was disappointing, to be honest. I wanted to see Korra put down Kuvira for what she'd done and for her not to redeem her character. Worst part of all of this is that after she's put in the handcuffs, she's brought back to the real world from the spirit world, she gives this really meek one-liner apology. I'm sorry, Len, for everything I did. And that's the last time you see Kuvira. Really? Like, come on. That doesn't get to happen. I'm sorry. That's a complete decimation, destruction of the character that they did such a great job of building up over the course of the season, and it just ends in this kind of wet fart. No, I'm sorry. I cannot forgive that.
I get you.
Yeah, I'm sure you understand.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I trust me. Um, but I definitely get that. I mean, it's like I was expecting like some kind of because when the mech was actually destroyed. I'll go next because I actually only have two things. When the mech was destroyed, I thought that it was actually coming together because I was predicting this in my mind like the week before how this final fight is gonna go. Where okay, the mech's basically destroyed. They're in this area where now they can fight, right? And they would be going to the death, but that didn't happen. What happened was Kavira just basically was just like screw you, threw a rock, and then just like ran, you know. So that was actually kind of disappointing. I would have thought like since everybody can take a hit, like there will at least be one final fight there between them two. So that was actually something that kind of disappointed me. It was looking so good. It was like looking exactly what I imagined. Rubble everywhere, and both of them just like inside all that mess. It was just literally like about to happen, but it didn't really satisfy me that she kind of pussied out and ran away. So that actually kind of disappointed me right there. My next one, and this one just didn't kind of. It's another thing of like foreshadowing. You get it? Um, when Milo got the balloons, right? He got the balloons filled with paint, and their idea was to basically cover the windshields on the top with paint and make sure it basically Kuvira and everybody is blind in there. So, but the thing is, what happened was when she said clear the windshields, like or clear the glass, I'm just like, wait, they had water stuff ready? Like what? So wait. You guys were expecting paint
I
from
didn't think of this.
Milo.
Yeah.
Like you were expecting paint from Milo.
Mm.
Milo, not Lilo, Milo. Okay, you were expecting this little kid to come up and just be like throwing freaking fart bombs and freaking disgusting like paint onto your windshield, and yet you all of a sudden had dispensers of water all around, like you were expecting it. Like what? Now that's something that was like okay, but that's basically me right there. I only had two things. But yeah. So who's up next?
I'll go.
All right, go for it.
That was pretty weak, by the way. That that was. I'm gonna go with not wrapping up some of the main characters. They didn't give Tenson had like what 20 seconds to talk to Korra before Asami had him go away. I mean, he was a major player in Korra and the whole series, and he was a mentor. They should have had a little bit more resolution between those two. What happened to Opal? She got injured. We saw her in the audience, but there just wasn't enough resolutions of what was going to happen to these characters moving forward. They just kind of narrowed it down to Mako and Korra and Asami, and that was just a little disappointing. But the other thing was just like Zen, Kuvira deserved to die, and the only person that died in this episode that we knew about was Sato, and that was tragic. But the fact that Kuvira got away with killing all those people, and then what was Sue's line, like, you will pay for everything you've done, as they walked off screen, and I thought that was definitely a cop-out, and I just think it would have been better to have her and Korra have like an epic showdown without the spirit weapon, and have her just beat Kuvira straight up fighting without a doubt. But I still like how it ended, but I think I would have liked that a little bit more. And one little nitpick, two nitpicks actually. How was Kuvira controlling the mech? It looks like she was metal bending the arm every time they showed it. But yet it was platinum. None of the other metal benders could penetrate the platinum to bend the metal underneath. That was kind of, we just had to, suspend disbelief or whatever, to accept that mech could walk and basically act like a human, and keep its balance and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing, everything they showed us about the spirit vines exploding when, if you guys recall, when it was Varric had him and Bolin and Batar. He was basically created that train they were on. He made a bomb, and it was filled with a lot of like smaller spirit vines, but that left a huge crater in the ground. If you recall, it was just a massive crater. That spirit reactor in the mech was bigger than all those vines put together. Yet all the explosion did was separate the top half from the bottom half. I really thought they should have did something a little different. That amount of spirit vines would have leveled the whole city like a nuclear bomb. And it was just very jarring for me to see it blow. I'm like, oh my god, this is going to take out the city, and it just basically just ripped the mech in half. There wasn't a whole lot of collateral damage from that. So that was just a couple nitpicks, but overall, I don't have too many. Anything else really to complain about?
Yeah, because basically, I only had those two because Zen basically explained the other ones,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I was like that. And you really explained a lot there too. That actually I forgot about the whole explosion thing too. That was actually something that I thought was like what, but core logic. But Therese, do you have any kind of dislikes or things that you think that didn't make sense at all?
I have one kind of grand disappointment, but first I actually kind of want to say I'm not disappointed by how the stuff with Kuvira resolved, but that's just because I'm thinking that she's going to get sentenced to death by the people, and I'm not bothered that it wasn't Korra that was the one to kill her, so long as it sounded to me like I don't think she's going to go to jail. I think she's going to get a death sentence. Like Zahir was kind of like all of his stuff was handled by the White Lotus and everything, and that was a little bit more secret. He wasn't that public. He was just like showed up right after the Earth Queen died, like, hey, I killed your queen, now you're free, and whatever. And it was very brief. Everybody knew about Kuvira. Everybody saw what she did and how far she went. I just don't see her merely getting a prison sentence. I think she's going to be executed, and it's fine to me that the Avatar wasn't the one to do that, so long as I think she's getting the death sentence.
All right.
And I don't see that. I don't see that as Kuvira's character being redeemed. I see that as the Avatar spared you to make the Avatar look cooler. Like she went in there and stood up to a giant blast of spirit energy and said, "No, you move," and created this giant spirit portal, and everything's great. And now we have a new one of those. And when she's talking to Kuvira, how she's like, oh, I see a little bit of myself in you. It all just seemed like it's she saved Kuvira not to necessarily to redeem her, but to become the like real peacemaker she needs to be. And I don't think that all the citizens of the Earth United States are going to look back on her so kindly, because they are not the Avatar and they are not as zen as her. So Korra doesn't need to kill Kuvira, because she's like, look, I've just got a line of people behind me. I can step out away and you'll still be dealt with. So I'm not too disappointed, because I still think she's getting her comeuppance, just not from the Avatar.
Okay.
Good point.
And my disappointment is that this show is owned by Nickelodeon. Pretty much any of the problems I could think of, like disappointments to list off, could be summed up by it's owned by Nickelodeon. Obviously, the big one is it didn't end on a kiss. Like The Last Airbender, the way I see it, the kiss in The Last Airbender was even less appropriate. It would have been fine unless these are two full-grown adults, Korra and Asami. If they kiss, whatever. But in The Last Airbender, they were already younger than like how they were in the first season of Legend of Korra. Okay, these are kids, like maybe 17 by that point.
Well, actually, if you think about it, Katara actually kissed an old man because Aang is actually
Well,
112 years old.
Kinda.
Think about it. I don't know if you just put it. I know he has the image of a boy and everything because he was frozen. But
Well,
it's
yeah,
like, if
but
you think
he
about
was frozen. He wasn't like aging in that time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was like everything was on standstill. But that to me, like, I don't have a problem with that. But I'm like, if I was gonna have a problem with something, it'd be little kids, doing romantic stuff like so soon. It worked out for the two of them. They were, no, they were definitely an item. But like we're talking about, like they were already teenagers, like late teenagers when the show started, and then we have this huge 5-year gap. They are in their 20s now. If they kiss, whatever, I don't care if they're the same gender. What's that matter? They're full-grown adults. We should see a little bit more than hand-holding from them. But again, that ties back to the show is owned by Nickelodeon, and there's so much stuff you can tell that the writers want to do, but they can't because the show is owned by Nickelodeon. The show is we're probably, I don't know how we're going to get the next Avatar, the Earthbender one, not from Nickelodeon, because Nickelodeon won't do it because they could barely finish this series. They moved everything online because they couldn't handle that the show was going in a more mature direction.
Dark, yeah.
Yeah, which wasn't, like, it was fine because the Last Airbender was a while ago. It's still the same audience, it's just the audience grew up, and it's doing like a little Harry Potter thing where the show is growing up with the audience, and I don't see why Nickelodeon has to have such a problem with that, why they can't just like try and branch out and do a little bit more mature stuff. And they're very intrepid about doing, not intrepid, they're feeling there's a lot of trepidation there to have the series grow up and like grow and become a more mature thing, even though that's what the direction like the writers want to take it and how everything seems to be moving. And it's gotten the show is insanely popular. It's a very big deal, but it's been canceled. They moved the last season online just because Nickelodeon has it stuck that they're purely going to do the being a kids show like station, and they are sitting on an intellectual property that is huge, and they're just going to sit on it because they're just insist on being Nickelodeon, and that's my main disappointment.
All right, because it reminds me a little bit of Disney. Oh god.
Oh.
Imagine if it was owned by Disney. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, but you have to make it where they sing, okay? And they sing about, let me see, they sing about that rock. Yeah, make that happen.
Well, now hold on. I don't know, because Disney now, you saw what they did with Marvel. When they threw singing in with that, there are no strings on me.
No, well,
maybe maybe Disney could pull off. I wouldn't be so quick to judge them.
With Marvel is a different situation entirely because they just bought Marvel wholesale.
Right.
They're the parent company. They allow Marvel to be Marvel.
Well, now if they did that, did that with the Avatar crew though, because like it's totally a situation of the artists not getting along with the studio. If they had a different studio that just let them do their thing, like it would be like so much better. They would be able to do so much more that they want to do.
You see, with this show, if they were looking for it because it was going to go to a mature kind of a side, then they should have actually switched it from Nick and put it to Nick at Night. Because Nick at Night actually shows, those shows that actually, they curse, they do all they talk about stuff that kids shouldn't even know yet. So that's where it actually should have transitioned to. They should have kept it where, okay, let's just wait until like 9. At least if it was still on TV, let's wait until 9 to put this out there, and then because that's when Nick at Night starts. Or since it was online, put it to where there's a mature block rating or something. Like, you can do that. Like, hopefully they know that they can do that. But
when it comes to corporations and protecting their own asses, they're really stupid. They don't want to get any angry letters from any parents who really should be parenting their own damn kids. Hint, hint. If the series is too dark and not appropriate for your kids to watch, guess what? Newsflash! You should probably not let them watch it.
And my sister don't let my niece and nephew, they're 6 and 3, she don't let them watch Korra. Like,
definitely, because the thing is, they're not at that, when kids at that age, they just, first of all, they don't understand what's going on. Second, it's better for them to watch a different show, that is basically, kind of a happy, fun show, right?
I'm mixed on that first point. That whole kids don't know what's going on, that's a myth. It's an urban legend at this point. Because kids teach me things.
Yeah.
You sure? Whoa.
That, I'm a grown-ass man, and I don't know, but you do. And I'm like, wow, it's not the era anymore. This is the era of communication and internet connectivity. Kids can talk to anyone they want across the world. They can access any information they want across the world. And so they grow up, quote unquote, mentally, not physically, a lot faster than people like in my day used to. Because, we kind of we had to either experience it ourselves or get told by someone who already knows. Now it's a Google search away.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think kids are more knowledgeable than they've ever been, but there's still that, childlike inexperience. They do definitely know more than a lot of people will take them for. They still don't necessarily know what to do with all that knowledge they have just yet, because they're new. They don't have experience, but they definitely know things.
So, I mean, theoretically speaking, if Nick had allowed that same gender kiss to go down, let's say they had no problem with it at a corporate level or in an artistic sense, they had no issue with it, and they allowed that team, assuming that this is truly real, and that was really the real ending, and that's what was supposed to happen. Then what would definitely happen next? You'd be going to your favorite anime websites or game websites or IGN or somebody who covers pop culture and media, and seeing that some clueless parent saw their kid watching the same gender kiss going down on Nick, and then decided to sue Nick for $10 million, as if that's going to change anything. So, yeah, trust me, it's going to happen. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm just gonna say this one thing, and then we're gonna get to the grades. It's just, I'm hoping, since now that Nickelodeon basically, it's over, they're done with Nickelodeon, that they will go with another company, like an actual anime company, and reboot this series and make it the way that they actually wanted it to be visioned.
Or at least make like a movie.
Or make a movie. That would actually be nice. Make a animated movie, just having with the first one being The Last Airbender, and then the next one being the whole Legend of Korra. That would actually be really cool. So definitely to lower down some things, because most of the stuff was kind of filler and Avatar Last Airbender. Most of the stuff I'm not saying.
That's what M. Night Shyamalan said, and look how that worked out.
Yeah. Don't. You made me like all sorts of like just. Oh no!
That's
what
happens.
I don't know if I can handle Avatar:
The
Last Airbender movie. The first one was just so.
You want to know the difference, though? You want to know the difference? I don't make 500 people move one rock. Okay.
Yeah, or I'm going to assume right now, the way that reaction went down the moment that movie was announced, that mentioned that no one likes the Ong. and no one likes
So
firebenders that can bend without fire.
yeah. Why?
That
I
movie is a
mean,
disaster.
let's
Yeah.
get to that later. That's a whole
Yeah,
separate discussion I want to have.
definitely. But all right. So let's basically get to the grades now for this finale, and also for the season. So just do both of them at the same time right after. So of course, starting off with the finale, then go off to the whole series of Legend of Korra. That's what I meant. So
I'll go first.
you want to go? Oh,
Yeah, I want to go first.
it's like I go first.
Because I don't want to be tainted by your guys's. And
All
first,
right, go for it.
Mike just chimed in. He fell asleep. He was going to join us. He said, and he watches a ton of anime. He says it's one of the best finales he's ever seen. He gave it an A, the finale. So and he was with us last week. Gave it like a C last episode. So he gave this an A. So he wanted me to share that before I go into my grade. And oddly enough, I give this episode an A. And I'm ignoring all the could have been, would have been, should have been. I'm just taking it for what it is. I was very satisfied, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, the music was just phenomenal. The animation, the fight choreography is just, I've never seen animation done so well. And so I give this episode an A. I give the season a B overall. And then the series, I would give it a B plus overall. The Avatar: The Last Airbender is my all-time favorite TV series of any, animation, live action, doesn't matter. It's my favorite. It's my favorite mythology, and Korra didn't live up to those standards, but it did pretty well overall. I have the first 3 seasons on Blu-ray, and I'll buy season 4. I give it a B plus for a series. And there were some low points. Season 2, the first 6 episodes were pretty terrible. The villain of that season was terrible, but there were some good moments in that. Season 3 was the best. I give that an A. That was the highlight of the series for me. Zahir was a great villain, and bringing the Airbenders back was a really good decision, I thought, to create balance. And it just, like I said, music across the board every season was good. The animation was top notch, and I'm sad to see it go, even though I don't think it could have. I think if they kept it going, it might have got worse and worse the further they went. I think they were pretty much out of ideas, or maybe it was Nickelodeon limiting their good ideas and having them. Maybe they had to always go with their option B for their stories. So we'll never know. But overall, I've been very happy that they made it, and it turned out very well. So that's my grade.
All right. I'll go next since I just want to do this right now. For the season finale, I give it an A. It was really good. I like of course, the music really went into sync. The fighting styles were just great in this episode, and just the way that basically all the characters that we knew were working together to stop one common enemy that was really causing a lot of chaos. So definitely an A. Season 1. It was good. I give it a B plus. Season 2, ooh, B minus. Season 3, oh my God, Zahir, freaking A plus, man. And season 4, I really am going to give it because this really brought out a villain that was just like so cold-hearted and everything. So, I'm definitely gonna give this an A plus too. And for the series in general, like, it was really good. Of course, it's still not comparable to the original, which is Last Airbender, but in total, it was great. I loved it. It was really nice to see them expand on it and show more of the evolution of this world. So I'm gonna give the whole series in total an A minus. It was really good. Korra was just a really good step to really bringing in more of and also bringing back the fans of the original series. So really good job, guys. You guys really did well. And yeah, so that's basically me. So who's up for their grade?
All right. What do you like to go for next?
I don't care.
Oh, you don't. Okay. Okay. Then I'll go for it. We're doing by the season, by the series, and then just this episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So season one, I'll give that one a B plus. Introduced us to more story within the Avatar mythos, so that's always a good thing. Season two, I'm going to give that a C, just a flat C. Wasn't bad. That fight was kind of super Deus Ex Machina, but at the end. But yeah, you let it slide. The past is the past, water under the bridge, all that good stuff. Season three is here, and all that took place in there. I'm going to give that an A minus. That one was truly impressive.
Zaire.
It was the fight. It was the rivalry, and it was the fight that closest reminded me of the Fire Lord and what went down there. So that you gotta give props to that. A straight up fight. I loved it. And this season, I'm going to have to give this season a C minus. It just didn't round out well for me personally. Combine that with how whiny Korra was in the first few episodes. Oh, it still gives me nightmares. So, but it was okay. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't all that great either. When all was said and done, could have done with a little bit more exposition, a little more explaining, and would have really benefited from maybe 5 to 6 more episodes, just to stretch things out a bit and be a little bit less rushed. Whose decision that was, we will never know, but it is what it is. As for the series in general, I'm going to have to give it. Let's be a bit generous here and give it a B plus. Mostly, it's not a B minus or a C. Pretty much entirely because of what Zahir turned out to be, which is damned impressive, and the promise of Kuvira, which didn't quite come full circle for me, but the promise was really good. It was a juicy promise. So I'm gonna give it a B plus. Legend of Korra gets a B plus.
All right. So, Therese, man, go for it, man. What do you think about this whole thing?
I don't think I can give a grade to some of the. I can't give a grade to season 1 of Korra because I think I'd maybe feel a bit too nostalgic about that, and I really need to watch that one again after watching the whole series, because most of how I loved it so much because it just made me very optimistic for the rest of the series, which I love the series and it definitely turned out awesome, but the first season left me thinking things would go way different from how they actually turned up, and I don't know if I can really review that one so much without actually looking back on the series as a whole. The second season I'd definitely have to say C because it had such a very slow start, but then it finished off very well, especially with the episodes with Juan, which is some of the best episodes in the whole series still even. But it was just mostly just those two holding up the entire season. Three is definitely an A plus. Still my favorite. And then 4, I would have to give just maybe an A minus because it felt like a few of the episodes, especially the clip show episode, which was just really and that was definitely that again Nickelodeon cut back the budget of the show. The whole season could have really used that extra episode to help wrap things up. We could have had a 3-part season finale and had more character moments, could have established what happened with Opal and Tenzin, and given the characters a bit more send off if they had that extra time, but they didn't because the budget was cut and they had to spend it on a clip show episode. So the season 4, it wasn't able to amount to what season 3 was, unfortunately. But But for the finale episodes, both definitely A plus. Oh, hello, hi me.
Nah.
But definitely A plus on both of the finale episodes because what they did amazing with what they had. I really felt like uh, they really nailed who Korra was, um, which if I had to put it simply, I'd say like she kind of started the series as more of a firebender personality, but kind of grew up to be more like an earthbender. Still like a whole lot of persistence throughout, but she definitely like calmed down throughout the series and became more mature and still stubborn as heck and can definitely fight, but she's more she got smarter. She got more spiritual, and she all the faults that she had in the first season, she kind of like rounded herself out and took care of those faults while still remaining the type of person she is. And seeing as the show is the Legend of Korra, uh, the her getting all the her character arc getting wrapped up in the finale made it an A plus, even if they didn't quite have the time to address the entire cast. They finished strong with Korra, and that is the main focus. She is the protagonist of the show, and how they wrapped up everything with her left me feeling, just looking back on the whole series, I I give the whole series an A plus. I also give The Last Airbender an A plus. I really cannot say which one is my favorite. They're just I cannot as easily as you guys say that I prefer The Last Airbender. I really strongly like The Legend of Korra, and I have to say I love them both equally for different reasons, and they both have their pros and cons. And I don't know. I think it's great. I love the whole series. I'm gonna rewatch it a few more times, like I have with The Last Airbender, and just it might be over and canceled, but I'm not gonna stop watching it.
All right.
Yeah, and
So
I just
yeah.
wanted to point out that Korra felt like 4 separate seasons. Like each season, they weren't sure where they were going to take it next. And Last Airbender had a clear goal from beginning to end, with each season being Aang learning the different elements and the same villain and same goal throughout. To me, that felt more natural than having a different villain in 4 different seasons. Korra. I think that was the biggest difference for me personally between the two series. Is I like from the get-go with Avatar, you knew about the comet and everything in book 1, and they had a plan, and you could tell that they had thought that out a lot more. Then Korra season 1 was supposed to be it. It was supposed to just be a mini series. That was all they thought they were going to have. Nickelodeon approved extra seasons, so they had to. That's why season 1 doesn't feel like they really flowed well together. Season 2, they were still trying to figure out what to do with the series, and it wasn't until season 3 that they actually figured out what they wanted to do. So I think that's the only thing holding Korra back was that. If they had known from the get-go they were getting 3-4 seasons of Korra, I think it would have been a completely different situation. But I think they did well with what they had and the time that they had and the money they had to do it. So
I'm telling you, man, all Korra's woes just tie back to Nickelodeon.
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
the reason that The Last Airbender was able to run more smoothly is because that was just a show that gelled more with Nickelodeon's style than The Legend of Korra. Don't blame Legend of Korra, man. Blame Nickelodeon. It's all them.
Yeah, those and the same creators, but actually the first season was only written and directed by the 2 creators. Like they didn't bring on the all the directors and writers from the original series until season 2. Then they started getting a group effort writing and directing. So I think season 1 fell apart. The second to last episode the whole explanation of Amon, seeing him and his brother, like their backstory, just kind of wrapped it up in a bow like perfectly. Like it just felt forced, and I didn't like how I really liked the season, but I did not like how they kind of copped out there at the end and made it too like clean. They ended it too just okay. Here's Amon's backstory. Now feel sorry for him. He's not a villain. Like I didn't like that, but going back and watching the series now, I've seen it twice. It does get better with that disappointment out of the way. I can just enjoy the show, the animation, the music, and the characters and the humor and stuff. So they're both great, but it's just different reasons, and the Last Airbender just felt more cohesive overall. So that's why I gave it the nod.
All right. So, guys, you basically have our grade and everything, but tell us what you thought about it in the comments below. Really would like to hear what you guys thought about this season finale. Really great finale. But there's just one more thing that I want to quickly do, and that is I'm going to let Zen take care of this because he's the one that basically informed me about this. And that is with this whole kind of rumor of how it was really supposed to end, and because of the douchebags at Nickelodeon didn't let it go. So, just bring us down to this, and remember, it's a rumor. All right, we don't know really that much, but I'm kind of seeing that it can be true because Nickelodeon is like that. So, yeah, so go for it, man. Explain,
All right.
preach.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna try to do this pretty concisely and briefly, actually. Okay, so the season finales were apparently changed quite a lot. If what the floatings of the internet and the rumors and ruminations of the internet are to be believed, and it seems as if they were changed. Now, if you combine what these people are saying, who seem very confident in what they're saying, it doesn't seem like this crazy, really super convenient fan fan fiction. Fan fiction smells like fan fiction, if you know what I mean. You see that from a mile away. It's like, yeah, right. But in this, it kind of seems like this is really what they were going for, combined with how jagged the pacing of the final two episodes tended to be at times. You heard me mention the whole Lin leaving to get Hero so that he could assist in building or rebuilding the hummingbird model prototype so that they could attack the giant robot. Apparently, that entire scene was not supposed to be there. It was just kind of shipped in last minute because they needed shock value. They needed a death to replace the one that they didn't want to happen, which was Mako. And by they, henceforth, I mean Nickelodeon, not the Avatar team. Nickelodeon are bastards, if even quarter of this is true. So the reason why they didn't want to kill off Mako is considered a fan favorite, and that's true by a majority of the fans of The Legend of Korra, and they thought it would cause a backlash by having him killed off and not surviving the final encounter with Kuvira. Given that he'd come so far and seemingly had a lot of character progression over the course of the series and season, they thought that killing him would cause a backlash, would cause a huge flame, and be very divisive amongst the fan base. Secondly, we have the whole Korrasami thing. It is canon, I guess, and some would say no, they didn't intend it to be a same gender relationship or a same gender kiss, and they were just holding hands as friends, lifelong friends, and walking into the portal. I don't know about you, and everyone has their own walk of life, but I ain't never seen any of my friends hold hands and look longingly into each other's eyes, even absent of a kiss. So forgive me if I don't believe that one. That it was meant to go down the way it was implied. There was a kiss at the end there. There is this GIF floating around the internet. If Mega would link it, he'll probably link it in the description or in the comment section. It seems very well done. It doesn't seem, again, fan fiction smells like fan fiction, and that doesn't smell like fan fiction. It's done extremely quickly, if so, at really great quality. So, gotta give him that one.
Yeah,
And
I'll link it.
Yeah.
I'll link it.
And even if you would say, oh well, they would never do that, and think about it, it doesn't go too far, because the clip in which I'm mentioning, it fades to white, I suppose is the color, and fades away just before contact was made. But definitely the intent was initiated, so there would be no doubt as to what they were about to do. But contact just didn't really happen. It didn't go full circle 100. So I believe that could have really been in there. And lastly, and most importantly, where the season finale is concerned, is the outcome concerning Kuvira. Apparently, she was intended to die, but not quite in the fashion that you might be thinking, just part of the fight and then the epilogue afterwards. No, the entire talk in the spirit zone, spirit world, was supposed to take place. The entire thing with her saying all she wanted to do was do right by the Earth Kingdom. I'm not sure if the crying scene was in there. All of Kuvira, Korra's talking to Kuvira and her coming around seemingly was supposed to be there. What was changed, however, was the end, which anyone who was expecting something else would have found that to be very short. And I mean, absent of Theresa's theory that we just didn't see the outcome, even though it was implied. But in this particular rumor, where we are breaking it down as rumor, Kuvira had one last dick moment left in her, and she tried to attack Korra right at the end, just before the handcuffs were put on her. Bended some metal towards Korra, kind of in a sense of, I didn't get my way, and you know how Kuvira was, or at least the way she was presented. It's my way or the highway, and if you don't bend to my beliefs, you will be mowed down. So she was willing to go on in that kind of last minute desperation attack, bend some metal towards Korra. Korra defended herself, kind of flung her hands up, if this is to believe, and accidentally bent some of the spirit vines. That the entire area was, it was all spirit vines, and it would make sense given that she just bent spirit energy, and of course would not have complete control over it. So in that moment of defending herself, she accidentally bent some vines, which pierced Kuvira's body at various points, and she died. That was where, after the initial shock of that having happened, Korra was obviously not happy with what she had done, very regretful, given that she had pretty much achieved peace with Kuvira, seemingly. But that was where they cut away, and then they went to the wedding and everything else afterward. I'm not sure if there was more of an epilogue. Another point to the omissions or the changes is how they rounded up Mako's character, where he just kind of gets a pat in the back. He said, "Good job, buddy. You almost died. Good job. You get nothing." So, he's kind of like, "I always have your back, Korra." That kind of one line, just, he was one of the main four in Team Avatar. And to have him have that, I mean, Tenzin's exit, someone brought it up, I'm not too sure who, and I agree. Tenzin deserved a better exit than that, but Mako deserved an even better exit than Tenzin. He didn't get it. Tenzin had more words than Mako, and Mako's a main character, not a supporting character, really.
Didn't really get it with Bolin either.
They didn't really give on to Bolin either.
Yeah, so the last we see him is he's apparently famous enough to wed people, and like that's
he's a judge or a priest now. He can wed people, so.
Yeah, exactly. That came out of nowhere, especially considering, even though it was annoying, I think to Teresa she said, the whole love triangle, and that was disastrous. But you would think that Korra would have more to say to Mako before deciding to go with Mako's other former girlfriend. You think that would have a little bit more of a moment there, but it didn't. So you could see that there was a lack of exposition, and it could be Nick rushed them, Nick cut their budget. Nick said, "No, we won't allow that. No, we won't allow this." And Team Avatar was like, "All right, screw it. This is what it's going to be. That's what we're going to do. You have your way. Be it as it may. F you and all that good stuff." So Nick, I believe they did a lot of changes. And as a creator, if you're an author, if you're an artist, any sort of artist, and you're creating something, you are extremely beholden to your vision, to how your project is supposed to turn out. And have someone constantly come in and say, "No, change that. No, this should be that way. No, dim that down. No, I want that way. Put that up. More focus on this and less focus on that." That's extremely annoying. And eventually, you're just going to give up and say, "Screw it." So I think that's what happened. And that what maybe was one of the aspects of the argument, quarrel, conversation between Team Avatar and Nickelodeon, which led to the show's cancellation of Nickelodeon and becoming a full online show towards the end of the series' lifetime. And it's unfortunate. Again, as Teresa would say, screw Nickelodeon. Because I would have preferred that other ending. That sounded like something that could have really gone down there. And you could see that they didn't have time to rewrite anything really well to make it mesh with the rest of the story that they had already have written out. They don't make these episodes overnight. They don't write these episodes overnight. This entire season probably was written before we even saw episode 1 of this entire season.
They have them written before we saw the premiere of season 3. They had season 4 written.
That's because, yeah, see, there we go. It was all written out. It was all planned to go. So to have someone come in and change it last minute because they didn't like the content, it didn't suit their particular belief that their channel or distribution service would be about. You don't really have time as an author to come in there, change what they want changed, yet still have it make sense with what they are cool with. It didn't mesh, which is why I'm saying the pacing and the way things turned out was kind of jagged. It didn't make sense. It seemed as though somebody cut a cake, and then they took a piece of fruit cake out and put a piece of chocolate cake in, and they cut a cake over there, and they put a piece of pie in its place. It just seemed really mishmash.
I'm hoping when the Blu-ray comes out, they do audio commentaries on the first 3 seasons so far. Be interesting if they do audio commentary on season 4, and if they address any of that, or if it's even maybe it'll come out before then.
So short of having any of that confirmed, because it still is within the realm of rumor right now, just from watching the episode and seeing these weird moments of disjointedness, I can clearly see that maybe, just maybe, all of it was true. So, if anyone, still has doubts, I mean, that is entirely up to you. If you choose to believe, again, once again, entirely up to you. I, however, for now, until I am proven otherwise, choose to believe, given the pacing of the episode and how weird it was at times, that they were forced to make changes by Nickelodeon corporate, and it didn't smooth it. The episode wasn't smooth as a result. So, yeah. Unfortunate and Nickel bastards.
Sums it up.
All right. So basically, you heard it there. It's a really interesting thing. I actually would be like really good with this kind of ending if it did happen. But overall, the ending was still good. It did have its moments, but it was great. Overall, it was a great way to at least end it. And but I actually really wish there could have been some kind of heartache within within this, to where Korra just feels so guilty because she killed Kuvira, and also where Mako basically dies, and of course Bolin is basically really, really depressed because of that.
Mm-hmm.
That really actually would have turned things around, and stuff like that.
I mean, one more thing. Hiro dying was really unfortunate. That scene with Asami being ejected, that was it pulled a singular heartstring. One. That one moment before he gets one is like, oh, that's unfortunate. Oh well, what's going on with the robot? That was kind of what was going on in my head. But Mako's death would have been this long, prolonged thing. Would have been, oh shit. It would have stayed with you. But him dying is kind of like, okay, dude, he's dead.
Well, my thing with Hiro, the way he died is just what really made me feel bad about him. That was just so disrespectful, and just like he was squashed like a bug, and he like the mech suit he was in, it fell off of that leg like it was a crushed mosquito.
Yeah,
just the most indignified way to go, and like all the stuff he did before, like I'm sorry, but the way he went, that made me feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm. So I do want to point out that at last episode I predicted they would destroy the mech from the inside, kind of like the drill in the season 2 of The Last Airbender, and that's kind of what happened. So I do want to point that out.
You want to pat yourself on the back there.
I was correct. I was wrong about Zahir coming back, but Sato came back, which was also a prisoner. So I was on the right path. I just picked the wrong person.
But it's all good. It was just this whole series was great. Until the end. Of course, it had its mishaps, it had its problems, but still, it kept it going. To at least let us know how that world is still doing and what kind of world it is. As of that day over there. So yeah, I mean, a really good series. Congrats to you guys that have made it. The Avatar team, you guys really did it well. A great job. Now that you may be free from Nickelodeon's devil contract, you may go somewhere and make a even a better series. And I actually hope that you guys really do, because Korra and Avatar was really a really great way to bring out your guys' ideas, because nobody would ever have like this kind of idea of elements being bended and all this stuff, or controlled by actual human hands. So
And the martial arts kind of
oh yeah,
incorporated into with humor. I mean, it was just an ingenious
yeah,
idea. And the guys, if you ever watch or listen to any of their audio commentary, they just have just a passion for this world they've created, and they're really cool dudes. And I've watched like season one. I think I've listened to all the audio commentaries. Actually, the first series I watched, I think I've heard all the audio commentaries. They get the voice actors on, and the people that have worked on it, or they just really love it. Like everyone is like they love that series. Everyone who's involved that does the audio commentaries is just very passionate about it, and I think that's why I think it comes through, and that's why the quality is so high, because they do love what they're doing. It's almost like Nintendo making their games, polished, and just they try to make them fun. And the creators of this series, they just always just made sure that it was of high quality, and I think that's commendable in the industry, the business they're in. A lot of TV shows are shallow, and they cater to, especially Nickelodeon shows, cater to the kids that adults can't even stomach watching them for
God.
an episode of
I
some of
know.
that crap they put on there. And you got to give
yeah.
Nickelodeon a little bit of credit for giving them a chance and airing the first series and giving Korra a chance to happen. It just sucks that they kind of
Yeah.
changed their mind after the death of Pali in book 3, when they pulled the plug and took it off TV. But I think at least they let it happen, and it did happen. It was a great show. So
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, hey, like Nickelodeon sucks on a constant basis, but you at least got to give them the hand for like not sucking this one time. No, I'm still mad at them. You cannot.
well, I don't, no, maybe no other network would have gave them a chance to make this show. So it's like you gotta like them for that at least. They gave the creators this chance to make a great show, and they did. I don't think any other network would have picked up the show, the original series. But I think maybe Korra could have got picked up by like the Cartoon Network or somebody else and been a lot better. But yeah, at least the original series happened.
If
This
only it was
entire situation reminds me of the butchering of Naruto Shippuden on Disney.
Oh my God, no! We're not going into that. All
Yeah,
right.
we're not going into it. I just wanted to mention
We're
it.
already in 2 hours, right?
Yeah,
we're trying-
I guess we're done. Don't, no. I'm not. No. Yeah. So, really, guys, hopefully you have been enjoying all the reviews that we have done for at least this season. I know we kind of missed out on every other one, but it's really, at least we got to the last one. So it's really nice to get through this. And yeah, so that's basically gonna be it. So we're just gonna be outing ourselves and farewell to Korra. So first, Therese, great to have you.
Hi, goodbye. That's it. I don't have a YouTube channel to push or anything.
It's all right. But thank you for coming in, and it's really nice to have another Korra fan within, this world. All right, so of course, Zen, even though this is like second and last.
Yeah, second and last, baby. I came
It's
in.
okay, you're not alone.
I came in on the one before this, and here I am in the season finale. So I said hello last time and saying goodbye this time to all you fans out there of this series, all you fellow fans. You can if you want to, you can head on over to the ZGZ, that is the Zen Gamer Zone, for more gaming related stuff. We occasionally dip into the realm of anime, and I intend to do more of that in 2015. So if you like that kind of stuff, you can go. There's a huge back catalog of videos and show you like what you see. And as far as Avatar goes, Korra, I hope to see you in a future lifetime of yours, hopefully as an Earthbender.
Definitely. All right, and of course, both of us here.
We've been here the whole time.
Yeah, we've
From
been
the beginning.
here from the beginning. So you guys already know who we are. Me, Mega Gamer, and of course Terminator.
Juice. I do want to give a shout out to Michael,
Yeah.
The Order for Life. He added some great insight to some of the reviews we did. Kind of in the middle, he came in, and he fell asleep. I don't know what he was doing, but he couldn't be here, and I just want to say that he did a great job, and I enjoyed everyone. Zen and Teresa, this was a great discussion, and I'm glad I got to talk about Korra with you guys, and it hasn't been like tons of views or anything, but I just really enjoyed talking about Korra, and I know we got a solid fan base, about 40 people that watch these reviews. Grayson Young, give him a shout out. He's been there watching every one of these. Teresa's watched them all, and Blue Dog 5454 are three names that come to mind that I know have watched every one of our review shows, so I want to thank them. And this has been great, and it's bittersweet because it was a good finale, a great finale.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's no more, Avatar. There's no more earth bending and fire bending and water bending, and it's going to be sad to not have it anymore. So hopefully someday they come up with a good concept and get away from Nickelodeon and maybe just do an animated movie that's 2 hours long and just have a really good extra story after Korra, or maybe show us in between Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. Have a movie that focuses on creating the United Republic and Republic City with Aang and all that. That would be awesome. So hopefully someday we'll be talking about that. But it would be years from now because it takes them literally a couple years to write and animate and do the voice acting for one season. So I mean, a movie would be less work, but I wouldn't expect to see anything within 3 years. But it's been fun. It's been a good ride, and I'm glad that I was part of this. So.
All right. So there you guys go. I'm going to be having the full playlist for each and every review that we've done. And so that way you guys, if you wanted to, probably if you're just watching the series or something like that, at least for season 4, the other ones we really haven't done it yet. But it's so if you want to catch on to each and every one, at least for the season 4, you can always check out the playlist. It's always going to be there. I'm going to be making it later on tonight, so hopefully you guys can catch on to each and every review that we have done, at least for this season. And trust me, it's been really great. It's been really nice. It's been fun, guys. Thank you to everybody. Grayson, it was great. Also, the other two that he mentioned, I just forgot. I keep forgetting freaking names, man. I keep forgetting. But thank you for everybody that at least watches Korra and watches Avatar and watches this series. It's been really nice, and hope to see you guys in another video. So, like I always say, don't lose your way. Don't be afraid. Just end it with Korra. Bye-bye. Have a nice night. And a nice Christmas, too. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, I don't know. Bye-bye.